Hi, I'm Colin Gleeson. I'm a GP. I've been qualified for about 35-40 years, and I've been asked to mention how we interact with people who binge drink. I suppose I see over the last few decades a big change in the drinking habits of particularly of young people. We used to go out for a few pints and that used to be it, whereas now young people seem to either drink more at speed or drink before they go out, and they drink and they take large amounts over a short period of time, which I suppose is medically known as binge drinking. And we see a lot of consequences of that with several acute medical problems. Even in the past week I had a young man in here with chest pain, and he had a heart rate of 108, and he had acute alcoholic toxicity from binge drinking, and he ended up being sent off to hospital in the ambulance. We frequently see other problems, accidents, injuries, often related to alcohol. There last year I was called out to a man, a young fellow who had a few pints with his mates, and went back to his apartment, got a bit hungry, put on the old chip pen and proceeded to conk out, and the apartment was actually on fire by the time we got out there, and myself and the EMT had to crawl along the floor and pull him out, and he was very lucky. I suppose other consequences we see, which are kind of subtle ones, is girls in for the morning after pill, often on Mondays. Have you had unprotected sex? And frequently even they mightn't even know who they've had sex with, which is I suppose extremely serious. We often see the male side then, young fellas coming into us kind of embarrassed, when they come in the door, what's up, and they've discovered a few spots in their penis, and the next thing they have genital warts from unprotected sex, frequently after binge drinking. I don't think they realise that binge drinking affects your memory and your behaviour and your judgment, and it's been shown to be particularly damaging in young people from the age of about 18 to 25. Their brains are much more susceptible, are still developing, and they can be much more damaged with acute intake of large quantities of alcohol. We often see other things like tummy pain, gastritis. I had a man in here last year as well with tummy pain after binge drinking, young student from UCC, and while I was examining him he got acute pain. I had to rush him over to the sink, and he proceeded to vomit half a pint of blood into the sink. So he had acute alcoholic gastritis. He was after about 10 pints of Heineken and a few mixes. We really, I suppose, I like a few drinks myself, my kids drink, but the binge drinking is really a serious problem, and I suppose young people tend to be more carefree and not to worry too much about the future, not how like old caters like myself, but I don't think they really realise how much damage you can do with acute intake of large quantities of alcohol. It affects their brain, affects their liver, affects their pancreas, affects their stomach, affects their mood. I've seen depression. I've had one patient who committed suicide after a large dose of alcohol, probably more than one, but one that we know of. It affects their behaviour, affects their exams, their results, their work, their colleagues. I think it's a really big, serious issue.